There's a stretch of road on the southwest side of Chicago that locals know better than to drive alone at night. It's called Archer Avenue. And if you drive it long enough, if you drive it on the wrong night, you might see her standing on the shoulder, in the rain, in a long white dress, with her thumb out. Don't slow down to think about it. By the time you decide what you're going to do, she'll already be in your car. The story begins, as the locals tell it, at the O. Henry Ballroom in Willow Springs, Illinois, sometime in the 1930s. A young woman everybody simply called Mary was there one night, dancing. She loved to dance. That night, after an argument with her date, she made the decision that would change everything. She left. Alone. On foot. She marched out into the rain, down Archer Avenue, still wearing her white dancing gown. It was a cold night. As she made her way along the dark road, a car came out of nowhere and struck her. The driver did not stop. He left her body lying in the road and disappeared into the dark, and was never identified. Her parents, heartbroken beyond words, buried her in the same white gown and dancing shoes she'd worn that night, laying her to rest in a cemetery that would soon carry the weight of her name forever. Resurrection Cemetery. That should have been the end of the story. But it wasn't. In 1939, a man named Jerry Paulus walked into a dance hall and met a beautiful blonde woman in a white dress. He spent the whole evening talking with her, dancing with her. He thought nothing of it, until the night ended and he offered her a ride home. She gave him directions down Archer Avenue. When she asked him to let her out near Resurrection Cemetery, he pulled over. And he watched, in absolute shock, as she walked toward the gates. And simply vanished. That was just the beginning. For nearly a century, drivers along Archer Avenue, truckers, cab drivers, ordinary commuters, have reported picking up a young woman matching her exact description, usually walking near the cemetery, always in that same white dress. Some have noticed her skin was cold to the touch. Her manner, distant. Disconnected. She gives an address nearby, and before the car ever reaches it, she disappears. Sometimes while the vehicle is still moving. One man swore she somehow got out of his car, without ever opening the door. She tends to stick to one specific stretch of road, the section of Archer Avenue between Resurrection Cemetery and what was once the O. Henry Ballroom. That's where she waits. A Chicago folklorist named Richard Crow began systematically collecting these accounts in the 1970s, and by the time he was done, he had accumulated what the Chicago Tribune described as 36 substantiated reports, spanning decades, all describing the same young woman, the same white dress, the same vanishing act near the same cemetery gates. 36 strangers. Telling the exact same story. But the story that truly cemented her into Chicago legend happened on one specific night. August 10, 1976, a driver passing Resurrection Cemetery spotted a girl gripping the iron bars of the front gate. He didn't think ghost. He thought a young woman had been locked inside the cemetery after closing. He drove straight to the Justice Police Station and reported it. Police officer Pat Homa took the call personally, drove to the gates, swept the grounds with his spotlight, and called out through his loudspeaker. No answer. When he got out of his car and walked up to the gate for a closer look, he found no girl. But he found the bars. Bent. Scorched. As if two human hands had gripped the iron with such force, and such heat, that the metal itself had been pushed apart and burned, melted into the unmistakable shape of fingers, frozen forever in the gate. Those handprints are still there today. Cemetery officials, embarrassed by the attention, eventually tried to repair the gate, but locals say the marks always seem to find their way back. People still drive out to see them. Some bring flowers. Some just stand at the gate in silence, wondering what kind of fear, what kind of desperation it takes to burn your own handprints into solid iron. So, who is she? Some believe Resurrection Mary was inspired by Mary Bregowy, a 20-year-old Polish-American woman killed in a car accident in 1934. The timing fits. The circumstances, a night out, a tragic ending, feel close enough to the legend that for decades, researchers treated her as the leading candidate. But there's a problem. Bregowy's accident happened in downtown Chicago, not on Archer Avenue. The details don't line up cleanly. And she isn't even buried at Resurrection Cemetery, but at St. Casimir, several miles away. So, either the legend got the details wrong over 90 years of retelling, or Mary Bregowy isn't the only woman buried beneath this story. Troy Taylor, a researcher who spent decades investigating the case, eventually concluded that Resurrection Mary may not be one ghost at all, but at least two. Two young women who died young, were buried in the same cemetery, and whose separate stories slowly merged into a single legend across decades of retelling. Other researchers believe she may not be a specific person at all, but a composite. An accumulation of similar tragic stories and similar reported encounters, consolidated by the human need to put a name and a face to something that keeps happening, again and again, on the same dark road. Which means somewhere on Archer Avenue tonight. It might not be the same girl waiting at the side of the road. It might be more than one. Archer Avenue still runs exactly where it always has. The O. Henry Ballroom, now called the Willowbrook, still stands. Resurrection Cemetery's gates are still locked every night at sundown. And the reports? They have not stopped in over 90 years. Across the street, at a local bar called Chet's Melody Lounge, there's a tradition that's been kept alive for years. Every Sunday, the bartender pours a Bloody Mary and sets it down at the end of the bar for her. She has never once come to claim it. But nobody at that bar has ever stopped pouring. So if you ever find yourself driving down Archer Avenue, late at night, somewhere between the cemetery and the ballroom, and the fog rolls in low over the road, and you see a young woman standing at the shoulder in a long white dress, soaked from the rain, thumb raised, asking for a ride home, you can stop. Plenty of people have. But when she gives you an address, and asks you to let her out near the cemetery gates, don't wait to watch what happens next. Just drive away. Because some passengers don't want a ride home. They just don't want to be alone on that road anymore.